So I'm over at my Wombok patch. This was my second planting for the season. I planted these adjacent to the sugar snap peas. They were planted in about late April, early May. They've been sitting in mostly shade for the last 3 months, but they have developed quite well, and I've come to a point where I need to start harvesting a few of them. I feel that with the warmer weather as we're moving into late July, early August, they're going to start bolting soon. So I'm just going to go through now, see which one's probably a good one to harvest, and then take it inside for dinner. So this is my second planting of Chinese cabbage, or as we call it here, Wombok. They have been growing in the shade. At this time of the year, there's a lot less sun in this space. But besides a bit of extra pest pressure, I do have a decent head growing here. And actually, I've got a sneaky suspicion it might be just starting to bolt. So I'm going to make the call on this one. I need to harvest this one now. But I do have 12 cabbages of various sizes. I did make the effort this time round compared to my first planting. I did plant these out at 40 centimeter spacings. Previous plantings I planted them out 20 centimeter spaces and they end up rotting, even though I do have one that has rotted in this location, but that's fine. But I'm thinking that these won't probably get much bigger, and over the next 2 weeks I'm going to have to harvest the rest. So I'm going to look at harvesting the first one here at the front, and then maybe over the week start harvesting the rest of them. So this is my Wombok. I'm just going to clear off all the outer leaves. They're not as big as the ones that we grew in autumn, and there seems to be a bit of insect pressure on them, but I'll take whatever I can get at the moment. And there you go. It's quite stumpy, but it's okay. It's quite firm. Just got to clean that up at the bottom. Took most of the slugs out of it, but there's still a bit of slime on it, but that's fine. I'll clean that up. That will go inside. I might see if I can find one more and might make it a 2-head harvest. There you have it. It's got 2 heads for today. Quite good size to them. Not as big as the first round, but that's fine. Not too much rot. There's a little bit of slug damage to them, but they'll be fine for home gardeners. I've got the other 10 to harvest. I need to get through those in the next 2 weeks before they bolt. But I'll take these inside and give them a wash and put them in storage for dinner. So this afternoon, I'm over at my old coriander patch. I'd left one of the plants go to seed. I'm actually going to dig this over now. I've got some Chickory seedlings from my parents' place. Dad's gifted them to me yesterday, and I'm thinking about planting them in this location. So I'm going to have to go through and just clean up this bed and make a few amendments to the soil, add a bit of compost and a bit of manure, and then I'm going to plant out my seedlings. So first things first, what I'm going to do now is go through and clean up the bed and get it ready for planting. So I just finished preparing my bed. What I've done is I've gone through and turned over the soil, I've broken up the clogs and ripped out all the weeds. And then what I've done is I've added 3/4 of a bag of cow manure and spread it out and dug it in. And now look, it's quite good, ready to go. It's got a nice tilth to it and it's ready to be planted. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and plant out my seedlings. I'll take them out and plant them in about 20 centimeter spacings in both directions. I'll go start planting them out now. Before I get planted, I just wanted to show you my seedlings. These are my chicory plants. Dad's probably giving me about 40 seedlings in here. I'm going to end up probably only planting probably half of them, but I'll see what I can find spots for the rest of them. This chicory is a bitter lettuce, and we use this to make salads out of it, but also we cook the leaves and make a dish called hindbi out of it. So it's actually quite a nice green, leafy green to have in your patch. So I'm going to go now and just prepare the soil and plant these guys out. So I just finished planting out that bed. I ended up with 12 plants in total. I planted the seedlings out at 20 centimetre spacings in each direction. I did the standard planting technique using the back of my trowel, dug a depression in the soil, planted the seedling in there and covered it up. So it's going to look quite well. I'm going to give it a water now, just to make sure that they really get that good water now so they can settle in overnight. And yeah, I'm expecting harvest pretty soon. These are great looking seedlings. They should be harvested in about 6 weeks time. I do have it. So I'm over at my first planting of sugar snap peas. These were planted as seedlings in February, and look, they're at the end of their life. I've harvested most of the peas off them, and actually starting to get a bit of a disease coming through them, a bit of chocolate spot. So it's good, about time to move them on. I'm going to do a final harvest of whatever peas I can find on the plant, and then I'm going to rip out, take away the trellis system and the peas, and that way I'll be able to give, if you can just see, to give the plants in this side just a bit more sun. It's currently shading across those cauliflowers over there. So I'm going to go through and start taking this apart.
All of them?
Yes, please. So I've got my little helper here with me today. She's helping me pick the rest of the peas. There's not huge amounts left in these. A couple of big ones, but you know, they were great. Look, they have started flowering a bit again, but it's time for the best. My second planting has just started coming on line, and I'm gonna have to do a harvest there this weekend, but I will take you past and show you that crop before we finish. So I'm just, as you can see, just some nice peas there at the moment. There's probably all in all about half a kilo. My little helper decided she wanted to be in the shot. I'm just going to go through now and just pull back this trellis system and actually collect all the spent peas and actually feed them to the chickens. So I'm going to go through, try to see if I can save much of the twine, try to reuse that, but essentially I'm going to clear that tonight before the sun sets. So I'm going to go work through that now. Ready?